Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about, oh boy, Gerry Conway, because Gerry Conway decided that he wants to get on his high horse and be like, anime and manga needs to be told some things because they sexualize women and they're misogynist and all that kind of bullcrap. And this comes from the co-creator of Power Girl and The Punisher. I mean, have we lost have we lost the story? Have we lost the irony on it all? The kettle calling it black is how we would have to talk about it. But it's kind of crazy because we're seeing this happen so often with these comic book artists or just people in general. They created something in the past that an American thing that's iconic. People love it. And because now you have these weirdos on social media or whatever complaining about how problematic the all of this stuff is, now they want to backtrack and be like, oh, I'm sorry I created it or whatever. Wait. You're sorry you created something that people actually love, people actually want to read about, actually want to pay for, actually want to have statues, toys, posters hung up in their wall, in their homes about. You know what I'm saying? Then you're trying to go over to another country and trying to dictate what they can't and can't draw. I mean, look how this all sounds, especially the United States. They always want to talk about diversity and freedom of will, freedom of speech, all that nonsense. But yet, things that people love, you want to restrict and then get mad that people found alternative things that they love. And then you want to try to come into that space and want to come in and change it because you don't like the fact that people like it. And then you always want to try to think of the children. No offense, screw the children. Screw the children because what? I mean, sad to say, you guys already screwed the children a long time ago because the whole trying to censor and protect the children are literally turning people into these little pantsy ass bitches where they can't seem to fathom things that are out of the ordinary or something that is offensive to them. It needs to be offensive to everybody else. No. Just because it's offensive to you doesn't mean it's offensive to everyone else. If I'm able to make money off of something and if people like it, guess what? You're offended. You don't have to like it. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to read it. You don't have to support it. But if everybody else does, shut up. But what's happening, another thing is, America don't realize that they're trying to colonize Japan. You're trying to go to another country and trying to tell them what they can't draw, what they can't write. And it's gotta stop. We've seen it with these art fixes. We've seen it with these hit pieces. We've seen it with the restriction and of sales of selling their stuff or whatever and junk like that. At some point, this stuff got to stop. People want what they want. People like what they like. And you can't keep trying to figure out why, or because a few people are sensitive or whatever, we need to change up everything for them. No, I'm sorry. That's not how the real world works. There's a lot of things in the world that makes people uncomfortable, or there's a lot of things that I don't agree with or whatever and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that everybody needs to cater to my whim because I complained about it or whatever and stuff like that, especially when I'm complaining about something that is minor to me. I mean, it might be a big thing to me, but it's a minor to the rest of the world. I'm sorry, women are sexy, women are beautiful, women have bodies, like it or not. Like it or not. You can get mad all you want to, but you're in a media that works on visuals. Look, Japan loves to celebrate women. No matter what kind of woman it is, just the same thing for the men too. They celebrate all of it. I'm sorry, their culture is completely different from us. What we might be like, might be okay with Japan, but every country is different. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to come in and take our sensibilities and bring it over into their creative spaces. That's the thing we're talking about. We're not talking about, oh, the mistreatment of real live women in Japan or the mistreatment of real live children in Japan. No, we're talking about creative liberties of the artists drawing big busty women fighting people, or big busty women with with barely any clothes on, but they're having fun, or they're just being themselves, but because they have big boobs and they look like they might be children or something like that, something's wrong. No offense, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna put it out there. When I was in middle school and high school, girls were busty. Girls were busty. Girls were pushing C and D cups before we got to high school. So I don't know what to tell y'all. Girls do get busty. Girls do develop bodies over time, just like guys develop bodies over time too. But it's kind of funny. We don't say anything about the guys, but we'll sure as hell complain about the girls. Don't you understand that trying to restrict the female form or trying to restrict characteristics on females is actually more sexist and misogynist than ever? Because, to be honest, go to a convention while you want to talk about, oh, what's sexist or whatever and stuff like that. You know how many people I've seen walk around in Power Girl and as anime characters with barely any clothes on or whatever and stuff like that? Busty women of all shapes and sizes, and they wear the outfits that are giving, which for some reason the Hollywood can't figure out why these movies and shows are getting criticized, because you don't take what is from the book and you don't transition it correctly. Cosplayers has been doing this stuff for years. I don't want to hear about restrictions or realistic worlds or whatever and stuff like that. It's fantasy. You're supposed to indulge people's fantasies as Hollywood. That's your job. You're in the business of entertaining people. Stop trying to put real world sensibilities on things. I'm sorry that there are some people that be like, oh, well, in the real world, or, well, you know, how I feel or whatever. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work like that. To be honest, you guys are just mad that you're not getting the same sales as manga is. And that's just real talk. You know, another thing is, you could have made Power Girl even more successful, Gerry Conway, in DC comic books, is guess what you should do. You could have did a whole bunch of specialized posters where different artists draw their own draw versions of Power Girls, but make sure that she's, you know, sexy and appealing or whatever. Then you could have created a whole bunch of statues. You could have created a whole bunch of action figures. You could have created merchandise. You could have had her featured in animated shows, video games, and movies. But no, you can't do that, because there are weirdos out there that want to complain about, well, she's busty. She needs to be covered up. She can't, her boobs can't be shown or whatever, stuff like that. Why is her boobs so big or whatever? First off, the girl is 20 something years old. She's a grown ass woman. And if a grown ass woman want to walk out with barely anything on and stuff like that and show her boobs in a boob window or whatever, let her. Who cares? She's expressing her body and her feelings. Power Girl has said it in the comic books many times over. The reason why she does it is because it makes her feel powerful. It makes her feel confident. It makes her feel sexy. And if it gets people distracted while she's fighting crime, that's good. She wants the villains to be distracted by her sex appeal. She knows she's sexy and she runs with it. But you guys miss that because you're so focused on wanting to change everything around and then trying to be on the side of these weirdos who are going to turn against you, Gerry Conway. Because guess what? There is going to be a time when you done said something in the past or did something in the past. And, you know, the same thing with the J. Scott Campbell thing with the Mary Jane Watson thing. there's probably going to be a time where somebody takes an old drawing of Power Girl or an old story of Power Girl and criticize you and then try to get you canceled. And what are you going to do then? Because as I recall, it's not cancel culture. It's consequences culture. So it's only a consequence. But it's just like at some point we gotta move on. We gotta let this stuff go. Let people enjoy what they enjoy. I'm sorry, women like to look at sexy women. Men like to look at sexy women. It's not misogynist. It's not misogynist to want to look at beautiful women. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But my biggest issue is you're trying to go over to another country and trying to punish them for their cultures, for their likes, for their creative spaces, because you're mad that the audience went over to them because you pushed the audience away by trying to change everything that they loved about these characters. You the ones who decided that, oh, this was problematic because some people on Twitter or some people on social media or some people in general came to you and said that this was a problem. Okay, just because they said it was a problem, did your audience say it was a problem? Because I'm sorry, if your audience didn't say it was a problem, why did you change it? Why did you change it? People been asking for Power Girl to come back in a DC continuity proper for years, and they tried with the New 52, and you covered her up. People was pissed off. You had to go back to what made Power Girl. Then you kind of got rid of her and put her on another continuity, but then you said that continuity doesn't exist anymore. So why isn't, and then Power Girl returned at Doomsday Clock, and we have yet to really seen her in anything. She was usually with the JSA, and then she usually had like a little mini solo run. She's not even featured in Supergirl, for God's sakes. She's an alternate reality version of Supergirl as an adult. Why do we not have this character out like that? I don't understand. It's crazy. You said that you want people to read these books, you want to have an audience or whatever, but you don't want to have the wrong kind of audience. Well, the audience that you're trying to get are the ones that aren't going to buy the stuff. And they're a 1% compared to your 90%. I don't know how to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this because obviously you need to get it through your thick skull. Most of your readership and audience is straight white male. Like it or not. You can get mad all you want, but the truth is in the pudding. And I'm not saying that there aren't women, and I'm not saying that there aren't gay people, and I'm not saying that there aren't diverse people, but there are smaller than your major audience. But guess what? That audience still support that stuff. If they didn't like Power Girl when she first came out, they wouldn't have supported the character when she came out. They wouldn't support anything that has her in it. But people do. You tried to cover her up, and what happened? You had major backlash. But now you want to try to do the same thing for anime and mangas because the women has unusual large breasts? What, you mad that you can't get the same amount of sales and the same amount of likes and interactions? Well, you push people away. I'm sorry to tell you this. You have two of the most iconic characters, Power Girl and Punisher, and yet you don't want people to use them, or you want to restrict them because, oh, it hurts certain people's feelings, or it's just not right in today's time. Nobody cares. Your audience don't care about that stuff. They don't. They only care about good fun. They care about good action. And you need to figure out how to bring that back. You have it. You just lost the message, Gerry. You and the comic book community, the media, the entertainment, Hollywood needs to stop this, because trying to attack Japan isn't your best route. You've been trying to attack them for years on years, and all you're doing is further pushing the audience that you barely have now towards Japan. You keep this up, You keep this up, all you're going to do is push more of your audience. And that's what's happening. Every time these artists and creators or whatever come out and try to attack Japan, all it does is get people to be like, well, hell, why do I even bother supporting DC, Marvel, or the big two, the comic book community, if they're going to attack Japan for being Japan? But guess what? Japan's selling, though. You keep snubbing out your audience until there's not going to be none. But I'm just saying, you keep this up. You do what you think is best. But I'm just saying, it's just not right. But yeah, that was my video. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.